If there's one type of thematic element in entertainment that I don't like, it's tragedy, or shows that end like this. Or this. And yes, this. It doesn't mean I can't appreciate a well-developed character, a well-written, logical, and emotional storyline, great cinematography, and fantastic acting. It just means I don't like investing my time and emotions into what is oftentimes a very likable character just to see them be destroyed, as in killed. I get that this largely comes down to personal preference, but I think there are some great arguments for keeping your main characters alive and ending on a happily ever after note. But the thematic element to all of these IPs is pretty simple. Take a hero, give him a hero arc, a traditional hero arc, and watch him shine. And at the end of it, don't kill him off. It's pretty simple. And look at how big they've become. If we had watched Lord of the Rings and we watched Frodo being pushed into the fires of doom and perish, and Sam jumping in after him as the faithful servant, how would we have felt? Would we have followed it as long as we have? There's a story that Tolkien wrote called The Children of Hurin, and it isn't a happy story. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it doesn't end well. Let's just put it that way. Had that been Tolkien's only work, would he be as popular as he is today? No, he wouldn't. He kept his main characters alive. He gave them all very deeply emotional, wonderfully developed storylines, and we followed them out to the end. And the end led us here, to a place where things really did end, for most of them, happily ever after. I get that the departing at the end isn't necessarily happily ever after, but it's also not a tragedy as none of them died. Let's get into Star Wars. I'm not going to get into Disney Star Wars because that isn't real Star Wars. I'm going to get into real Star Wars with Luke Skywalker being the penultimate hero, the hero of heroes, the person that most nerds identify with, at least the ones I talk to. And if you look at all the horrible reviews for Disney Star Wars out there, you can see that almost all of it revolves around Luke, Han, or Leia, our heroes. And they weren't killed off by Lucas. He wouldn't even let them be killed off in the books. And because of that, we got to keep reading stories where things ended happily ever after. There's also some franchises that I mentioned earlier. There's Harry Potter. I loved the movies a lot more than the books. And again, how did they end? Well, our main characters, Harry, Hermione, and Ron, are all alive. Wonder why they're so popular. And then if you start to get into Marvel, there's a little more tragedy involved in these films, a tiny bit. And there's a lot in Endgame. It's one of the reasons I don't think Endgame has aged well. And when I left the theaters, I was slightly disappointed. I immediately gave it a 7 out of 10. Now that I've had a chance to go back and watch it again, there's a lot of good stuff in it, but there's a lot of really corny type of woke, cheesy, honestly stupid stuff in it. With the ending being obviously Iron Man dying. They started this whole thing with Iron Man, one of the best movies I have ever seen. And he was alive and well at the end of that, by the way. At the end of Endgame, not so much. I know that some people love the noble sacrifice. I know that some people just like tragedy. There is nothing wrong with that. Not a darn thing. This does come down to personal preference. I know that. And for me, that personal preference is happily ever after, don't kill off my main characters. And if you do, then I'm going to walk away, and so do a lot of other people. You can appreciate the film for everything it has in it. You can appreciate rich storytelling. You can appreciate great character development. You can certainly appreciate great cinematography and the look of a film or a show. Take, for example, Arcane. My goodness, what a beautiful show. And I'm going to do a video on this. I know it's a little late, but I'm getting into it anyway. This is a tragic show, though. Do I like it? Well, you might have to wait for my review. I like a lot about it, and there are a lot of good things to like. But like I said, I don't like things that end on a tragic note. Now, we're not 100% sure if the whole thing is going to be tragic. I think I see where they're going with it, with the missile being launched into the control room or the meeting room of the counselors, but we'll have to wait and see. As it has ended, I personally didn't like it. And again, rich character development is something that can be appreciated. Rich storytelling, all the cinematography, everything that Arcane did right can be deeply appreciated. But in the end, if you don't like tragedies, you're probably not going to like it. My whole argument here is basically, are you going to have a highly successful IP, say like a Star Wars, a Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, if you're going to be killing your characters off? For instance, how popular has Wolverine been since he was killed off in Logan? I don't know, haven't looked at the numbers, but I can tell you personally, I haven't been buying his comics. I haven't been watching any shows with him, probably because he's dead. And that's the point. You're not going to make a lot of money off of it. And, some people don't care about that. That's fine. I don't necessarily care about that, but what I do care about is how I feel after I leave a movie. Do I feel edified? Do I feel happy? Do I feel energized? And when I watch a depressing tragedy, I don't. Doesn't matter how good it is for me. On a very personal note, it just doesn't work for me. I've met people who think right along the same lines with me, and I get them, and I like to hang out with them, and I like to watch movies with them because we watch happy movies. But I've met people who are on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, who some are just really great to talk to, and we have a really great discussion about it, and some get pissed off at me. But some of those people who get pissed off at me might have a valid point. But what does work for me is a show that ends on a very positive note, something like, Return of the Jedi, where everyone's dancing and clapping and hugging, and they're showing all the dead people who've been redeemed. I love that. Let me know what you think. Do you like tragedies? Why do you like tragedies? That's something I like to hear about. Let me know in the comments below. I'm Joe from Papa Jobo's. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Help me grow this bad boy, and we'll keep the fight going. Take care, guys. Peace.